All right, we're live on YouTube. Stand by, people. Stand by for amazing podcast action with Brad and Dave. Say something real quick, Brad.
Something real quick.
All right, that's fine. Perfect. All right. Recording. There's a reason we've done 230 of these. We're professionals, right?
Sure. Yes, we are professionals.
All right, here we go. I'm starting the podcast now.
Right, meow.
Welcome to the Alien Invasion number 230, recorded Thursday, October 19th, 2017. I'm Dave Nelson with Brad Ludwig. Hello, Brad.
Hello.
Coming up on this episode, drunk man arrested and warns of alien attack. There's actually more to that story. It's even better than that. And congressional candidate who was abducted by aliens claims she can communicate with them. Plus, a sighting along with our picks and warnings. Before all that, though, our question. What's the question? Good question.
What's frequency, Kenneth?
Yeah. There we go. Let's find out what the question is. Okay. What alien-themed TV show or movie would you like to see an updated version of? A reboot, as the kids say. Brad?
My favorite Martian.
Really?
Yes.
Who do you see taking over the lead role?
The Bill Bixby role?
Yes.
You know, I would go... Boy, you kind of want somebody who can do the straight man stuff well and still knows how to pull out a laugh. I'm torn, and you're going to have to follow me on this, with Will Ferrell. Yes, he can be incredibly goofy, but he can play a straight type man in the proper setting. Or Seth MacFarlane.
Okay, I can see Seth doing that. He's got the right body type.
he looks like, and I can't even remember Bill Bixby's character's name. Tim O'Hara. That's who he was. That was his character's name.
Wasn't there another person on that show, an older gentleman, who would later on become, he had a recurring role on Star Trek as the groundskeeper at Starfleet?
Oh, that was Ray Walston. He was the Martian.
Oh, okay. So the Bill Bixby character, he'd be the My Favorite Martian, because the Ray Walston guy was the Martian, right?
Yes, Ray Walston was the Martian character. He played Uncle Martin. That's what it was, Uncle Martin. And yeah, Bill Bixby. I'm trying to remember what Tim did. I think that he worked at the Air Force Base, or he... No, I think he was a reporter. That's what it was.
Okay.
And
this may shock you. I've never seen a single episode of My Favorite Martian. So do you want to just give me a recap, the general plot synopsis of the show?
General plot is Ray Walston's character, as I recall, was sent to Earth to kind of report on Earth for Mars, and then his ship kind of got stuck. Something happened to his ship, and I can't remember if it was in the first episode. Yeah, there was a experimental aircraft that Bill Bixby, Tim O'Hara, was reporting on, and the X-15 was the name of the plane, and that Ray Walston's character had to avoid the oncoming craft, and he accidentally crashed his ship. That's what it was.
Okay.
So during this time, he has to, he's kind of stuck. He can, make this his ship kind of invisible, and he's kind of stuck there trying to repair his ship. But obviously, Earth is not as technologically advanced, so he's just kind of stranded there because he can't really fix his ship. So
comedy ensues.
Wackiness ensues.
Wacky hijinks.
Absolutely. That's the only hijinks to have, sir.
Of course. My answer to this question is Space 1999. But it wouldn't be called Space 1999 because we've gone beyond that date, beyond that year. So they'd have to change the date. And I believe they were actually working on a reboot of the show a few years ago, but I haven't heard anything about it for a while. So I'm thinking it's dead in the water. But I want to see that because there were aliens on that show. One of the dumbest plots in the world, the setup for the actual why they're in space or why they're doing what they're doing. So do you know how do you know the plot synopsis of Space 1999, Brad Ludwig?
Weren't they like on the moon and something happened that pushed it out of orbit?
Yes, there was an explosion on the moon, powerful enough to knock the moon out of the Earth's orbit, and it flung into space, and it kept on going. And they ran into aliens and crazy, weird space things. It's a dumb, like, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word that I'm looking for. It's a dumb setup for a show, but the show is cool.
Okay.
That's not the right word, though. What's the word? I can't think of the word. Anyways, it's one of the shows that really made me fall in love with sci-fi. I remember playing Space 1999. You know how you're a young kid and you watch a show and you played it? You pretended that you were on the show?
Sure.
Like we played Star Trek and Star Wars and
Heck yeah.
everything else and Space 1999. So that's my pick for the question. What alien themed TV show or movie would you like to see an updated version of made?
Nice.
Did you ever watch Space 1999, Brad?
Not that I can think of. No. I may have seen little bits and pieces here and there, but I don't think I've seen an entire episode.
You should go back. I think it's available on Hulu. Or the last time I checked, it was available on Hulu.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
All right, we'll end it right there. We'll end that segment right there. I think we said enough.
Bam.
Move on to the news. All right, I think I have the first question or the first story. Oh, I think we got a couple of, we did have a couple of viewers. Yes, we have 2 viewers. Hello, viewers.
Hello.
We have the YouTube chat open. Stand by. I'm going to open it right now. Right meow.
Right meow.
Let me just go to our channel. How do I get to our channel? I don't know. Hang on.
You know.
We haven't done this for like a month, so.
Yeah.
Rusty.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there we are. Okay. Let me just mute
For
that
like
sucker.
month, so.
That was us in the past. Oh, Growly Bear. Hello, Growly Bear.
Growly Bear.
Let me just pop out the chat. And there we go. It's popped out. All right. So we can continue. All right. First story. And I am recording. So here we go. Get ready to laugh. This is funny.
Okay.
Police in Casper, Wyoming were dispatched to a residence Monday night, I don't know what date this was, to speak with a man who stated he was born in 2048 and was there to help people escape aliens, according to KTWO. I'm guessing that's a TV station in Casper, Wyoming.
I would say that that's a probably fairly good guess.
So to recap the first sentence again, police went to this guy's house and the guy said, "Oh, I was born in 2048. I'm here to help you guys escape from aliens." Do you want to continue?
Do I want to continue?
Yes. Do you want me to continue the story?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm hooked.
Bryant Johnson claimed, that sounds like a futuristic name. Bryant Johnson claimed he was trying to warn the people of Casper that aliens were coming next year and they should leave as soon as possible. He also said he wanted to speak to the president of the town. Not the mayor, but the president of the town, Brad.
What? Okay.
Oh, did I mention he was drunk?
Well, that would explain a little bit.
Well, maybe not the explanation that you think it is. Johnston told police the only way he was able to time travel was to have aliens fill his body with alcohol and have him stand on a giant pad. The pad, however, was supposed to transport him to 2018, not 2017. So he's a year early.
Oops.
He's going to have to hang out for a year.
Yeah, a little bit.
Implement his plan. Officers noted that Johnston had watery, bloodshot eyes, slightly slurred speech, and the smell of alcohol coming from him. An early breath sample showed he had a blood alcohol content of 0.136. The limit in Wyoming is 0.08 for drivers 21 or older and 0.02 for drivers 18 to 20 years old. So,
wow.
I'm going to come to his defense. I'm going to say, yes, he was a time traveler.
Okay.
Because, look, the Terminator series, they traveled through time and they lost their clothes. So why couldn't being drunk be a prerequisite to time travel in this case?
Anything's possible. I mean, we don't know. We don't have the ability to travel in time that we are, aware of. So who knows?
Maybe alcohol is the missing piece of the puzzle. Maybe that's the one thing we've been missing this whole time to finally accomplish time travel is alcohol.
Well, we have plenty of it. Come to Wisconsin and do your research for time travel. That's all I'm saying.
We could do an experiment here on the show if you wanted to, like next week.
You know what? They could just stop by Matt Stein's house when they record Podcast of Terror, and I think they have a willing test subject.
For those of you not familiar with Podcast of Terror, that's a podcast on the Galactic Network, gncasts.com/POT. That also stands for pot.
It does.
So, I'm torn on this issue because he could be legitimately telling the truth. I mean, we don't know aliens. They may know things. Well, obviously they'd know more than we do since they're arriving on Earth, probably using some kind of extraterrestrial, not extraterrestrial. They're traveling the cosmos, and we can't travel the cosmos right now. So obviously they have advanced technology. Who's to say that it's not wrong that you need to be drunk to travel through time?
Well, there's only like one issue, and unfortunately we don't have follow-up information on this at this time. And that is if he has a driver's license or a social security number, that would definitely weigh against him, I think, in this case.
Let me do a real quick Google search to see if we can find out more information. All right.
Fair enough. There's probably a follow-up to this. And I, for one, would love to hear it because there's a lot going on in this story.
Okay. So, New York Times, let's see what they have to say.
Fair enough.
They may have more information. Oh, the page is not available anymore.
What?
It's a conspiracy.
You know what? That's the people from the future trying to erase the fact that he's here and was caught.
Okay, here's one from Newsweek.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. They have a video. Stand by. No,
that's the worst.
According to KTWO, president of the town, bloodshot eyes. I don't see any more. They kind of like added on to the story with other stuff.
Dang it.
Not directly related to the case. So we may never know.
I don't know.
You know, Brad, I want to believe.
And who wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
If I'm going to travel through time, though, I'm going to get drunk on IPA because that's the way to go. IPA. Give me a good IPA, and I'm gonna travel through time.
Okay, so Newsweek has this story dated at October 5th.
Yes.
And unfortunately, at least through Google News, we need to find if... KTWO is a radio station.
Oh, okay.
And... let's see.
I wonder if KTWO airs Coast to Coast AM.
That'd be something.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's
Bupkis.
Got Bupkis, but it's an AM station.
I'm on their website right now.
They do have Coast to Coast AM.
The Dave Ramsey show's on right now. It's typical AM station.
Yep.
The typical trappings of a AM station.
And Glenn Beck will be coming up here shortly.
Ah, great. All right.
But unfortunately, you know what? I'm going to create an alert for this because I want Google News to tell me.
Yeah, we need to know more on this.
I absolutely need to know more about this. So, dear listener, if there is a follow-up to this story and it hits the interwebs, we will be notified and we will most certainly get more details on this story because, by God, if that isn't one of the weirdest things that I've heard. Well, actually, the next story might be a little weirder, but we'll let you decide.
All right, let's go to that next story. Hang on. I don't think we need to have our chat. We can just continue on. Unless there's something that you want to discuss. Is there anything particular you want to discuss?
Not that I can think of.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, Brad, hit us. What's your story?
My story is about a congressional candidate in the great state of Florida who claims she was abducted by aliens and can also communicate with extraterrestrials. And this story comes to us from, AOL. There you go.
Was she drunk?
No, it does not look like that is the case.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. A politician in Miami who is running to replace Republican Representative Elena Ross. Oh, I feel terrible. She's retiring, and she claims that she was once taken aboard a spaceship by aliens where they discussed a number of topics. In two videos dug up by the Miami Herald, Bettina Rodriguez Aguilera explains in detail how she was abducted by aliens when she was 7 years old and says they have communicated with her telepathically several times since then. She says, I went in. There were some round seats that were there and some quartz rocks that controlled the ship. Now, these videos were originally posted in 2009, so 18 years ago. And this was on the Spanish language station America TV, and from a user named Doral Girl 26.
Can I correct you real quick?
Sure.
2009 is not 18 years ago. That's 8 years ago. Right?
Oh, God. Yes.
Don't do that, Brad. Don't
can't,
time go by faster than it already is.
I can't math today. My brain's officially cooked with mathematics. Here we go. The 59-year-old politician who was Doral's first economic developer and was a Doral councilperson from 2012 to 2014, said the aliens, 2 female and 1 male, didn't have long oval faces, big eyes, and long fingers. She said the hosts, 2 blonde-haired journalists, the alien beings looked like them, were dressed in party outfits, and reminded her of the Christ the Redeemer statue. If you are familiar, it's a very large stone statue on, oh God, is it on the Rock of Gibraltar?
Oh, I was thinking Rio de Janeiro. What's that?
Oh no, yeah, it's in Rio. Yep. Christ the Redeemer. How? Yes, it is in Brazil. It is closed as of right now.
Oh,
in case you were wondering. Let's see.
They're on Eastern time, I think.
Yeah.
Let me interject real quick.
I have no idea why it said the Rock of Gibraltar. That's ridiculous.
Here's something off topic. I think it's so strange for a place so far away to be in your same time zone.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
It feels like it shouldn't be, you know?
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. Let's see. Okay. So just for folks who are, I am going to do a quick screen share for our YouTube. And, you know, if I could actually...
You're in the Matrix, Brad.
I am totally in the Matrix. There we go. Okay. So this, if you are a YouTube viewer, I'm going to expand the size of it. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is the Christ the Redeemer statue. He is in like a long white robe with a bit of a tunic and a sash around his shoulders. And he has his arms outstretched as if he's like moving forward to give somebody a hug.
Oh, who wouldn't want a hug from that guy?
Who wouldn't want a hug from Jesus? I mean, come on. So yeah, there you go. So that's a descriptor for you. So you can kind of have this in your head, because this is what she said he was kind of dressed like. According to Fox News, Rodriguez Aguilera said that the aliens chatted with her about a series of things that would happen. The topics included how God is not a person and is a universal energy, the world's energy center is in Africa, and there are 30,000 skulls in a cave in Malta. That conversation took a turn.
That's very random things right there.
You know, the first 2 deal with energy and life, and the last one deals with an odd collection in somebody's cave in Malta. So that's what I have to say about that. Okay, the aliens also discussed ISIS, but Rodriguez Aguilera wouldn't give details on what she was told. So they had intel on ISIS. In a statement Friday, let me just make sure. Friday, just last Friday, from this broadcast. So it would have been this particular interview happened October 13th.
Wow, this is fresh off the presses.
It is hot off the press. She states, there we go. Okay. She told the Miami Herald that she's not the only person who believes in other life forms, and she's correct. She's quoted as saying, for years, people, including presidents like Ronald Reagan and Jimmy Carter and astronauts, have publicly claimed to have seen unidentified flying objects. Scientists like Stephen Hawking and institutions like the Vatican have stated that there are billions of galaxies in the universe, and we are probably not alone. She states that I personally am a Christian and have a strong belief in God. I join the majority of Americans who believe that there must be intelligent life in the billions of planets and galaxies in the universe. And you know what? That makes sense. And I too believe that there is life out there. There has to be. Mm-hmm. In an infinite universe, we can't be it. The odds are against that. So, very, very interesting. I don't think that this will really hurt her chances to win a seat.
No, she may be appealing to a demographic that most politicians don't appeal to. Maybe there's that small population of believers, of people like us, who truly believe in extraterrestrials and life out there somewhere. That
absolutely,
they were going to be like, "Oh, she's one of us. She's got my vote."
Darn tootin'.
You know what I find cool about this story is it's the first story that we've heard in a long time that doesn't involve the so-called gray aliens. That they seem very more like us. That look like.
It sounds a bit like the Nordics, because she said that they were, they were kind of blonde. They were tall. Does it say they were tall? She told the hosts, two blonde-haired journalists. Oh, the hosts were two blonde-haired. The aliens look like them. Okay, that's worded so weird. The journalists that she was speaking to were blonde, okay. Which who the hell cares?
Yeah, not really pertinent information, is it?
To the story? No. Whatever. So anyways, it could be Nordics. It doesn't sound like Men in Black or anything like that. So my vote's the Nordics.
Yep. They weren't gray aliens, which I'm very happy about.
And if they were reptiloids, that would stand out. Uh-huh. So there you go.
Guess something. Your skin's a little bit different. I think you're a salamander, possibly.
There's a possibility. We don't know.
All right. Thank you, Brad. That was great. It's fantastic.
Major market.
You said it, brother. All right. Here we go. We're cooking with gas.
Bam.
Well, we had 3 viewers for a while. We're back to 2.
Damn.
Thank you, Growly Bear, for sticking with us. Let me just go back on the comments and see what he had to say here. His connection dropped out for a while.
That happens.
Interesting how in the future there usually is a shortage of milk or coffee. Okay. Then he said, abducted, a tummy tuck, AB equals abdomen, duct equals a fold. I don't know what he's trying to say there. Anyways, all right, let's move on.
That's all right.
Thanks for the comments, Growly Bear.
Absolutely.
All right, let's do our sightings. It's time for a sighting. This is something that somebody saw, possibly an extraterrestrial craft of some kind, or it could be a weather balloon, swamp gas, Venus, light from a water tower. I was going to say What's the towers by the sea? The
Lighthouses?
lighthouses. Yes, lighthouse. Could be a lighthouse. You never know. But in this case, I have a feeling it's actually aliens. So here we go. A Pennsylvania witness at Homer City reported being woken by the sound of a military helicopter and then saw a triangle-shaped object that seemed to cause a loss of time, according to testimony in case 81494 from the Mutual UFO Network, also known as
MUFON.
Thank you, Mulder. The witness was sleeping at 9 p.m. on January 8th, 2017, when he was awoken to a low humming sound that seemed to be coming from every direction. I then saw what appeared to be a low-flying Apache or Black Hawk helicopter. It slowly flew by, and afterward, the humming got intense. The witness then saw an object in the sky that pulsated with red, white, and orange lights. It continues. They were also softly pulsating. I looked at my clock when I woke up and it said that 25 or so minutes had passed, but it felt like it was more than 2 or 3 minutes. I really hope that doesn't mean what I think it does. It's got a little sense of humor there. I tried to dismiss it as me being tired, but I fear that I have had loss of time. After what seemed like a minute, the saucer shot away and then changed directions very abruptly. Afterward, another or the same black helicopter came through the direction the UFO was going to fly until it changed direction. I just want answers to what this was. I want rationality, he wrote. Pennsylvania MUFON field investigator Jason Geese investigated the case and closed it as an unknown. I love when they're classified unknown.
Darn right.
All right, so here's the little details. Object estimated to be between 90 to 100 feet long. Geese stated in his report during the interview, the witness alluded to a possible abduction situation. Witness said he had missing time, approximately 25 minutes, and said he had marks on his arm. Whoa.
That's wow.
That's a sign that he was abducted.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
They were beginning to fade, and he sent me a picture of the marks. This is the investigator talking.
Sure.
He then went on to explain that a few weeks ago, he felt a presence in his bedroom, and at one point felt as if something was pulling at his legs, although he could not see anything. Homer City, the borough in Indiana County, Pennsylvania, population 1,707.
Salute.
What?
Hee Haw?
What?
Do you remember the show Hee Haw?
Yes, I do.
They would mention a very small town, city, village, whatever, and they would say the name. They'd give the name of the place, the state it's in, and how many people are in it, and then they would end it with salute.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
Yes.
Yeah, we used to watch it every Sunday. Or was it Saturday?
I want to say it was Saturday.
Okay, I think you're right. Yeah, Saturday. So, what do you think about this, Brad? This report, this sighting?
The first thing that came to my mind is being awoken and going, God, turn down the stereo.
Stupid neighbors. The neighbor next door to us who always just cranks up the music, and he's not like a young kid. He's probably my age, probably in his either late 40s or early 50s. But he whenever he gets a chance, he cranks up his stereo, and it happens to be right next to our daughter's room, so she gets the brunt of the sound.
Oh, that's swell.
Mm-hmm. So it's not a stereo. It's something else.
Hmm.
It's a very detailed report. I like this for the possible abduction angle to it.
Yeah.
We don't get many of those. And that was one of the reasons I grabbed this as my sighting this week. I wanted an abduction.
It's a very good story.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you grab it?
No. Yeah. So let us know what you think about this. Do you think it's legit? Aliens at gncasts.com. Our voicemail number is 805-328-3966. You can comment on the on this story in the comment section of the video on YouTube or on the episode, the blog post for the episode on our website, gncasts.com. And by the way, if you have had a sighting or you've been abducted or whatever, you think that you were in the presence of extraterrestrials in some way, let us know. We would love your sightings. We've had a couple of listener sightings before. We want more. So just get a hold of us via that information I just gave to you. Or just go to our website, gncasts.com. There's a contact us link in the menu. All right. Stop that. Stop that.
I was just thinking that. Stop that.
Do a partner read. We need more partners. We need more partners.
We need all the partners.
We do. Okay, if you enjoy the alien invasion, and we hope you do, and would like to do more than just subscribe or share the episode with your friends, family, and pets, please consider becoming...
There's a market that needs to be tapped. Podcasting for pets.
Or your alien buddy that lives next door who makes loud noises in the middle of the night that you think is a stereo, but it's really weird alien thing. Anyways, you can become a partner with us by going to gncasts.com/support and click on the Patreon link, or you can also just go to patreon.com/ I think it's Galactic Netcasts. We have all kinds of cool levels. We have the $1, $3, and $5 a month level. And what's great is that there is rewards for all three levels. You get something, not just the satisfaction of supporting us in what we do, because we need help keeping the lights on, as they say. And that's pretty much all that we're paying for right now with the partners that we currently have, is just the website hosting, the audio hosting, and that's it. But we'd like to do more. So we need more partners, and we're not doing this just to get your money. We want you part of the network. That's why we call you partners, right? Because you being a team with us is very, very, very important. So again, gncasts.com/support. Couple of the perks, the rewards, an extra podcast every couple of weeks, courtesy of our friend Peter Fisher. He does this app podcast exclusively for our partners. You can get your name mentioned on all of our shows across the network. Or if for the $5 a month level, you can get a whole message read on our podcast. Think of that as like a sponsor read, sort of. You're a mini sponsor is what you are. So one more time, gncasts.com/support. Become a partner, please. That'd be awesome. Thank you. Bye. Okay. Right. All right. Let's do our picks and warnings. Man, it's flying by, buddy.
It is.
Pal.
Compadre. Mi amigo.
All right, here we go. So picks and warnings time. These are things that we have enjoyed in different ways, all related to aliens of some kind. You know, it could be something that we watch on the TV, on the internet, could be a book that we read, could be a game that we played, could be anything, as long as there is an alien component somehow. And Brad, looks like you are up first.
I am up. That sounds dirty. Hey, I watched something that I really enjoy. Actually, Anessa and I binge watched The Orville.
Oh, it's a great show. Great show.
I I've said it before. I would rather be set on fire than watch Star Trek Discovery, only because now I'm in America. You can watch it on Netflix, correct?
My new T-shirt, Brad. Star Trek. Yes, we can watch it on regular TV. But my wife still has an issue. She feels your pain. She thinks that it's not right that you have to pay money to watch Star Trek.
And you know, and I can hear people making the argument right now. Well, you know, it costs money to make. Yeah, I get that. You know, this is what they want to do, and that's perfectly fine. You know, CBS and I can't remember what Paramount that owns them. It's a free country. They can do whatever the heck they want to, make money however the heck they want to. That's fine. But then it's also up to me to make choices as to whether or not I'm going to back something based on the practices that they want to do. And that's not, I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just how I feel about the thing. To me, and you know, and I had a conversation with somebody about this. To me, I bonded with my parents over Star Trek. That's like the first thing that we bonded over that wasn't like a kid's book or something. It was something that was easily accessible to the both of us. And we would, you know, talk about the episode and things like that. That holds a special meaning to me. I don't feel that Roddenberry's vision, yeah, I'm going to go there, was that you would have to pay extra to see his stuff. That doesn't feel like Star Trek to me. Now, again, that's just my opinion. You can tell me to go to hell. I don't care. Whatever.
I respect your opinion, Brad. I'm not going to tell you to go to hell.
That's aimed more at the listeners. You and I have discussed, we've discussed this a lot, and we've kind of, I think, agreed to more or less disagree, but we respect each other's opinion.
But we can find a mutual thing with Orville, because I love the show, and especially the fact that it reminds me of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
It does. You know, and I did something very, well, I don't want to say it was very nice, whatever. There's a couple that watches Alex for us on Tuesday nights so that Anessa and I can have our date night. And right now we are taking a dance class on Tuesday nights. And what I did is I basically hooked them up with my Hulu account. I have space for four accounts, and I hooked them up so that they could have one of my four. And I've already seen up to the current episode that is on Hulu at this point in time. And so I sat down and I rewatched the first two episodes with them. And my friend Rob stated that a lot of the opening or the beginning, maybe 15 minutes of the show, felt like a love letter to Star Trek: The Motion Picture. It really kind of had that feel of trying to give you the grand scale and actually immerse you in how big these ships are, what the technology is like, people interacting in this world that we obviously know nothing about. Not so much that, you know, it's a new show, but I mean, we don't know what it's like to get onto a starship. So we're getting that sense of scale, that sense of what that type of life would be like through their vision and through the show. And that's, we never really got that with the original classic Trek series. And that's what he meant by a love letter to Star Trek the Motion Picture. Anyway, for as much as people have, so they first kind of maligned the show even before it came out because they're like, oh, it's going to be Star Trek with penis and fart jokes. Not really. They've tackled things like transgender rights. They've tackled things like what what happens with the civilization, with this particular civilization, when they're a religion that they generate around basically a dead captain that died 2,000 years previously. What happens when things kind of run amok with this religion, and what this particular culture, what some of the leaders were willing to do to stop people from asking questions. We've had an episode where we they kind of explore what type of rights somebody who has a more advanced civilization should have over other people. They've explored a lot of really interesting concepts, and they do use a little bit of humor. It's well placed, and some of that humor is, if you've seen the previews, they show a little snippet where they ask a captain to move like 2 steps over so that he's more centered in the frame of video. To me, that just felt like, yeah, it's comedic, but it's somewhat realistic. You think about how often would you actually hit your mark so that a camera would perfectly pop you right in the center of a frame.
I have something else I want to add to that too.
And so they tackle a lot of interesting concepts with bits of humor, and the character development that you're getting with the individual characters, the kind of tense relationship that the captain has with his XO. It's really well written, and it feels genuine. It feels like a real return to that feel of Star Trek. And the last thing I'm going to just say before I let you have the floor here, Dave, is who was it? William Shatner did a sort of a documentary, and he talked to people about the impact that Star Trek had on them, and in some cases the work that they do. And he actually sat down with Seth MacFarlane, and he stated how much he loves Star Trek for how they approach these topics in a manner that, not so much as a morality play, but they made you think. You know, you look at like Plato's Children and Eden's Way, and some of these other episodes that really kind of touched on things that were contemporary, things that we are experiencing in the here and now, but using sci-fi and as a way to kind of put a slight facade on it to make it safer for you to look at something that you might be uncomfortable with. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what's happening here with the Orville. Okay, so go ahead, Dave.
It's well known that Seth MacFarlane is a huge Trek fan. In fact, he wanted to do Trek. Like, he had an idea for a new Trek show. So I think this is his way, since he couldn't actually do Trek, this is his way of doing Trek without doing Trek.
Yeah, and it feels genuine. It feels it's so well worth watching, and thankfully enough episodes have come out now that people have given it enough of a chance that I think they're starting to see that it's not Family Guy in space, not even a little bit. So
one of the issues I have with it, and it's not a huge thing, but when they make 20th or 21st century pop culture references, like, you know, this is supposed to be like pretty far in the future. But then I have to realize, oh, it's a TV show, so it's okay. Don't take it too seriously, Dave.
Yeah, I kind of thought about that too, and you do raise a good point. They do talk about things that that do feel a lot more contemporary, and maybe they will address that at some point, that there's a that their culture really uh, has a fad right now of past pop culture from previous centuries or whatnot. We don't know, and or like you said, maybe it's just a throwaway thing. It just happens because it's a TV show.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about those little jokes once in a while, I had both my wife and I took a second and really laughed at a moment from last week's the latest episode where they come to a planet and I forget the name of the big enemy on this series.
Oh, the krill.
Yeah, the krill. Basically, they're Klingons. Um, and a couple of people on the bridge are like, "Oh, all the women and children." And then the guy that used to be on ER, the helmsman, um, he goes, "And all the single people." And we're like, you know what? That's true. They never mention the single people. Why is it always the women and the children and the married people? Come on, single people need some love too, right?
Well, single people eventually may become married people who generate children. Yeah, yeah, there are occasional, and I did the same thing. I went, oh, yeah, well, there you go.
There's all these throwaway lines that they just skip right over. They don't pause. It's part of the dialogue. It's supposed to be funny, and some you catch, some you don't. It's like you almost want to rewatch each episode to catch all those little or not inside jokes, but all the little, the funnies.
Yeah, it's really well done. I don't think the humor isn't overdone. The storylines are cohesive and intelligent and make you look at things perhaps a little differently, or at least presents them in a way that um, offers both sides. In the episode where they kind of deal with the transgender issue, they don't give you this is the way it should be. It's done in a way that leaves things open, and you're left to make a conclusion at the end as to what happens. Was it right? Was it wrong? And that's up to you to make that decision. So that's kind of nice that they're not, kind of hand of godding something into your face and going, here, this is the way it should be. They let you interpret that however you will. And that's kind of nice.
I think that's Seth MacFarlane. I think he's a real decent guy, especially he's come out recently talking about Harvey Weinstein and that comment he made at the award ceremony a few years ago.
Yeah.
The little thing about Harvey Weinstein, because he was trying to not defend, but it was in response to a good friend of his, a woman who got harassed from Harvey Weinstein. So
Yeah.
I think he's got a lot of heart and I think he's a stand-up, really decent guy. I think he wants to do this. I think I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think I see where you're going with it. And yeah, he's trying to treat the themes that they get into respectfully.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah. God, there was one more thing I wanted to mention about the show. Oh, the guest stars that they've had. They've had some really famous people. Well, the one alien crew member is voiced by SNL guy from back in the day. He did Weekend Update for a while. He's a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, I can't remember his name now, but yeah.
And then they've had some guest stars. They had, who did they have?
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson. Yeah, I'm like, holy crap, is that Liam Neeson?
And, Charlize Theron.
Yeah. And then
Jeffrey Tambor is his dad.
and I couldn't believe the opening credits on one of the episodes was directed by Jonathan Frakes. I'm like, holy
Yeah.
they've really gone Trek if they got Frakes directing it.
Yeah, that was the episode with Charlize Theron
Okay,
that Frakes directed.
It was
He
cool.
might have. Go ahead.
It was cool to see his name on the opening credits.
Yeah.
When they were showing the bridge, because that would be where you'd see Frakes' name, right? If he was directing an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation or something like that.
Yeah, it was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
You had that moment, and he's directed a lot of television, and he directed a sort of a young adult movie called Clock Stoppers that I really enjoyed.
A lot of those Trek alumni have gone on to directing. Who else? The LeVar Burton has done a lot of directing. The woman that played B'Elanna Torres from Voyager is a big director.
Okay.
Quite a few people who were in Trek have gone on, because they used to cultivate that in this on the Star Trek series. They used to like push the actors to do directing as well. I remember hearing about that. Anyways, all right, good.
Nice.
Thank you, Brad. I'm guessing 5 out of 5 flying saucers.
Heck yeah.
All right.
No question. 5 out of 5. Bam.
All right. So my pick is something from a listener. Her name is Joanna Jorgensen.
Cool.
She's local here in Ottawa, and I almost had the chance to meet her the other weekend. We were going to go to this seance at this place. It's Halloween season, so there's a guy that does these seances. They're not real, but it's like a show. You meet someplace, then you go to the house, and then you do the whole seance. It's not real, but it's freaky enough. It's like a good enough show that you're freaked out anyways.
Sure.
So she was scheduled to go, or she was going to, but we had to back out that night. So we almost met. Anyways, she was going through her stuff, and she found a magazine that she thought that I would like. It's called The X Factor. No, not the comic, The X Factor. This is something else. It's a magazine that covers, or used to cover, cover-ups, paranormal, mysteries, and UFOs. It's a British magazine. It was put out fortnightly. It says right here. I don't know if you can see this. Fortnightly. And it was back in 1999 when this came out. It was for sale for $1.75 pounds. I don't know how you would say that in pounds. 175 pounds. Anyways, the one of the reasons that she thought I'd like this is the article about Philip Corso. You're familiar with Philip Corso, right? He's one of the major guys involved in the Roswell UFO crash story. One of the people that was involved in it. He was a major at the time, and right after the so-called remains of the UFO and the aliens were brought to a hangar somewhere, I forget where it was, he went through, or I think accidentally opened up some of the crates and saw one of the alien bodies in the crates. And then years later, in another job, I forget, hang on, I'm trying to look ahead here. He was a general later on, and he worked for some department of the Army or the Air Force that dealt with our enemies' technology. Like Russian technology. Like they would take apart a MiG and figure
Yeah.
out why the MiG is better than our craft,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of try to duplicate what they're doing. So one of the jobs he had working for this department was going through the crates from the Roswell UFO crash. It just came into his possession as part of this other job. And in these crates were all these alien technologies that what they did was they took the technologies and seeded them. I'm sure you've heard this before.
Yep.
They seeded them with these companies, and the companies back engineered them, and all these amazing like product developments in the 60s were supposedly due to this alien tech that was recovered in Roswell in 1947, like night vision glasses. Yep. What else? Circuitry, computer circuitry. I'm trying to remember the other ones. They always mention in the UFO crash what looks like kind of aluminum foil that you would
yep.
bend, but then it would bend back. It wouldn't keep its shape, or it would go back to its original shape. So it was very interesting. Like I've read things about this guy in the case before, and I've listened and I've watched things about the case, but I thought it was cool to read this profile about this guy in this magazine. It was also to promote his book, which I think came out about that time, called The Day After Roswell by Colonel Philip J. Corso, which I would love to read someday.
Wait, I have it right here.
My God, weird.
Yeah, I picked this up probably, gosh, I want to say 3 weeks ago.
Wow, weird coincidence.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, it had been on my Amazon list for a while, and then I watched a documentary thing on Netflix, and I looked him up, and I found that he had done a book, and I'm like, oh, I have to have that, and yeah, here it is.
Have you started reading it yet?
I have another book to finish before I pick this one up, but it is going to be read soon, very soon.
All right. So yeah, I'm going to give this 4 out of 5 flying saucers. It was good. It was a very short read, and I'm looking forward to reading what else is in this magazine, because it's not all UFO stuff. It's what are some of the other things that are in this issue? Investigating the physical evidence of reincarnation. That's something else in this issue. There is, they deal with all kinds of stuff, like gods of the new millennium. I don't know what this one's all about. Oh, genetic engineering. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm on board for this magazine. I'm looking forward to reading the rest of it. So there we go. That's my pick this week on the alien invasion.
Nice.
All right, I think that's it. I think that is it, except for the outro, the extra, as they say here in Canada. The extra, intro and extra, not intro and outro.
That's so weird.
I know, it is weird. All right, here we go. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Alien Invasion, a Galactic Network podcast. If you'd like to read more about the stories that we covered on this episode, click the links in the show notes. We'd like to thank Monkey Warhol for giving us the intro music, a song called Alien Syndrome. You can find it and more of his music at soundcloud.com/monkeywarhol. Oh, actually, the better URL, since SoundCloud's going to end someday.
Yeah.
5 years. monkeywarhol.bandcamp.com is where you can find more of his stuff. Also to Retward von Durnberg, a composer from Germany, for our closing song called Be Water. Learn more about him and his music at thecaravel.net. And finally, thanks to Ben Olson.
Thanks, Ben.
for recording our disclaimer audio at the very start of this episode. And you can find out more about what he does. He's a great wedding DJ. He's going to be DJing Brad and Inessa's wedding.
You are correct.
BenOlson.com is his address. So before we leave, before we get out of here, final thought. Brad, what do you got? Anything?
Unfortunately, then this coming week there is no episode of the Orville, so we have to wait a week.
Oh,
I know, it makes me a little sad.
oh well.
But I'll have to comfort myself with some of the CW shows.
There you go. Plenty of those. You got your Supergirl, you got your Flash, you get your Legends, you get your Arrow. Bam.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
All right. There we go. It's in the can, my friend. It's in the can. That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Hang on. Let me stop the hangout. Thank you, Growly Bear.
Growly Bear.
Thanks to our other 2 viewers that were there. There's one other one now, but there were...
Sweet.
Yeah.
Hi.
All right. I'm going to end this by... I'm not going to end the I'm going to end the broadcast, not